I guess the City Gen's been going for 40 years, mainly maybe through my stubbornness, really, to let it die.
Football fanzines really came out of music fanzines of the 70s and early 80s, the kind of punk DIY culture of using cut-ups and glue and photocopiers to make fanzines. And then it was taken up by the early football fanzine editors of the mid-80s. By the early 90s, around 1992, there were over 600 titles that had been and gone. So it really was an explosion of titles.
The ability for fans to communicate something just wasn't there at that point. And the only way to get your views across, apart from protesting in some way or singing at games, was to put this printed material out, really.
There wasn't much information about the football clubs in the up to the 80s. So quite soon, a lot of the articles were looking back at the history of Bradford City, which was not really written down.
What stands fanzines out from traditional media, I guess, is that irreverence, that kind of critical voice, critical view of what's going on within the world of football.
Just essential in giving fans that voice. What goes on at football clubs behind the scenes when you're perhaps discontent with your ownership, for example. Fanzines are about being unofficial, about saying what you like and kind of, damn the consequences, really.
Clubs are very close to what they release. They don't talk to newspapers as much as they talk to their own channels. And it was my link to Leeds United. The way I would read about the club was how I followed football.
I think that they were a really important aspect of what it meant to be a football fan in that period.
Putting the fanzine together at that time was quite a primitive job.
I was literally there with a Pritt stick, and I was sticking things onto sheets of paper, and I was taking those sheets of paper, physical sheets of paper, to the printers.
Typewriters were used to type the actual prose. Pen and ink were being used to draw the cartoons. It was then all stuck down and printed on quite a primitive printing press.
I remember, I think one of the lads told me that they'd had to buy a special stapler once the City Gent started getting bigger and bigger, because they couldn't you couldn't just use a normal stapler.
In the years following that, fanzines became glossier.
We did a 31 special for a promotion campaign, and that showed the transition between me and my Pritt stick and my sticking stuff together and the digital world. It was a massive step change.
In the age of the internet, when the World Wide Web came along in the late 90s into the 2000s, transformed fanzines and fan media again, so it all moved online.
Because you've got digital and social media, everything is so real time now. And of course, when you put something out to print, you can print something and the next day is out of date. And I think that's where fanzines have to be a little bit perhaps less topical than they were. They can't write like a newspaper report because the next day it's superseded. Your manager's gone or something.
The medium changes and the technology changes, but the process remains. That if you've got something to say about Leeds United, you could send it to us, and then put that together with artwork from talented Leeds fans who just wanted to make art about Leeds United. I think it's that sense of community ownership that keeps it going for so long. Whoever is involved in it, it's hard to imagine Elland Road without somebody standing by Lowfields Tunnel selling a copy of this magazine, because it's been happening for over 30 years.
The amount of work that goes into producing a fanzine and distributing it and keeping it going far outweighs how easy it must be just to stick it on a website.
I think sometimes digital content can be so throwaway. Like, you post something on, social media, and someone scrolls past it, maybe looks at it for 5 seconds and moves on. Whether if you have something in your hand, it's more treasured and they can display that. They deserve more than just a cursory kind of look online. So it means it's something people can go back to and lasts a lot longer.
I think it's important to conserve and preserve football fanzines as an aspect of our cultural heritage. Fanzines kind of hold like a repository of these kind of cultural memories, really, within their pages.
It's as valid as any other record of what happened in a place at a time to a community. And that desire for well-designed, well-made, well-written representations of how you feel you support your club suggests that it meets a need in football fans that other media is not.
In terms of where the future of fanzines lie and fan-led media lie, I would hope that it continues, that new generations of many young people will be inspired. The platforms on which they do it may change over time. I think that the essential thing is that fans can be creative, they can connect with other fans and share that pleasure. You know, it's been said in many, many contexts that without the fans, football is nothing. And I would 100% agree with that.
It's good that there's still a few stubborn people like myself continue to keep print going. We just carry on as we are and we'll just keep going. As long as I have enough people that want to help me put it together, enough people that want to send articles in, enough people want to buy it, well, we'll keep going.